And now let's talk about Turkey. Last month, it was ravaged by deadly earthquakes. More than 48,000 people died. And now it is battling floods. Torrential flooding has turned its streets into rivers. At least 14 people have died, several others are missing. The devastated communities are left to clean up after nature's destruction again. And what about President Recep Tayyip Erdogan? What role will he play in this pre-election test? After all, he's still grappling with the aftermath of the earthquakes. Here's a report. This is what happened to Turkey last month. It battled the wrath of devastating earthquakes. More than 48,000 people died. 200,000 buildings were severely damaged. And tens of thousands of people were left homeless. Now another disaster has struck the same southeastern provinces. Torrential rains have led to massive floods. At least 14 people have died, several others are missing. Floodwaters are surging along the streets, sweeping away cars, splitting roads into two, killing quake survivors living in container homes.
During the night it rained. Our tent was flooded. I was barely able to save my children. We are still living in a tent. Despite all, thanks to God.
The water got inside the tent. We went to our neighbors and we stayed outside. We have small children. The youngest is 12 years old. We went out. Now we are dealing with the tent, throwing the water out. They gave us wooden pallets. We're trying to arrange them. Everything is in the mud.
We came here because of the earthquake. We have been out since last night. We sank to new depths. The children are all outside. Our home was flooded. We have nowhere to go. The tent was also flooded, all covered in mud. But we have to stay here.
Some areas have received a third of their annual rainfall in the past 2 days. Officials say they have never seen flooding like this. Residents have been asked to evacuate their homes. This came after bodies of 5 people were found in a basement apartment. Bodies were also recovered from an underpass. The current dragged away several people while they were still in their vehicles. Those who tried to help others were swept away themselves. Even hospitals were flooded, and hundreds of patients had to be moved away. Dramatic visuals of search and rescue operations have surfaced. More than a dozen professional divers are involved in the operations. But what about Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan? Where is he? He's currently worried about Finland. As Turkiye nears ratification of Finland's accession to NATO, he met Finland's head of state in Ankara. Erdogan sent his interior minister to the flood-hit region instead. But is that enough? He faces elections in the month of May, and state response to natural disasters has become an electoral issue. Opposition leaders are jumping on the chance they're due to visit the ravaged areas and highlight the government's inadequate response. Meanwhile, Erdogan is facing one of the toughest phases of his 2-decade rule. He's battling a struggling economy. The earthquakes have dealt a blow. Their cost is estimated to be $84 billion, which is 10% of the country's GDP. And while the president was still grappling with this, the biggest natural disaster during his rule, torrential floods have poured water over his chances. He has issued several public apologies. He has also said that no nation could have dealt quickly with a disaster of such a large scale. He may have a point, but it doesn't matter given the rising public anger. And if Erdogan does not move quickly to tackle the flood crisis, a bigger political one might be waiting for him.